Rocket Companies announcing a deal to acquire America's largest mortgage servicer, Mr. Cooper, for $9.4 billion. This coming just weeks after Rocket announced its purchase of online real estate brokerage Redfin. Joining me now on the strategy behind these acquisitions, Varun Krishna, the CEO of Rocket Companies, and our executive editor, Brian Sozzi, here with me as well. Varun, you have been busy for sure in the past month with these two acquisitions. Let's talk about Mr. Cooper first here. Mortgage servicing. Now, you guys have a mortgage servicing business. This will make it far larger. What's the business profile of that and the profitability profile, and what is it going to bring to Rocket?
You know, our vision, thank you for having me, first of all, Julie. It's great to be with you and Brian. Our vision is that we want to build an integrated homeownership platform. We want to make the entire experience of homeownership, from home search to origination to servicing, seamless and frictionless for our clients. And so we've learned a lot by creating our own servicing business. We have just about 3 million clients with Rocket, and we love, protect, and amaze them every day. It is a great business because when you build that kind of loyalty, you earn the right to recapture and generate new products and services for those same clients, which really improves the lifetime value. And that is really the theory of the case behind why this acquisition makes so much sense, is that we are connecting the best origination company in the country with the best servicer in the country so that we can create that recapture flywheel and create a long-term business. The other two things that are really interesting for us about this acquisition is that it provides us with more relationships and data that allow our models and our AI investments to become even more effective. And it also counterbalances the company to be able to drive growth in different market cycles, both high and low rate environments as well.
Varun, how did you identify Mr. Cooper, and how, I guess, fragmented is this industry?
Yeah, you know, the good and the bad news is that it's still a big market and it's still very fragmented. And, you know, Jay and I met, you know, when I was onboarding into the company, and I was learning from folks in the industry, and we just connected. And as I got to learn about the servicing business, you know, and talk with Jay and his company and meet his leaders, it became very clear that we shared a kind of a common viewpoint on where the world was going, and we wanted to create a better housing experience. You know, today the challenge we have is there's just too much friction in the process. You have to deal with too many middlemen. It's expensive. You know, there's a lot of wait and wonder. And so we felt that if we integrated our platforms, we could actually remove friction and we can create a better client experience for all. And when we thought about who we wanted to partner with, obviously Mr. Cooper is the best in the business. They have incredible size, incredible scale. They have world-class technology. And when we thought about who we wanted to partner with, I mean, the two companies have a very strong cultural alignment. They share similar DNA. We've collaborated together before. And we were, you know, a group of common-minded folks who just wanted to work together and do great things together. And so when we compared it against all of that criteria, it really had to be Mr. Cooper. They checked every box, and we're excited to be able to work with them.
And to be clear, Jay is going to stay on after the acquisition, right, to continue to run that business?
That's correct. Jay is a world-class leader. I think he's built an incredible business. And I think he and his team really strengthen the collective talent at Rocket, and we're excited to have him continue.
Varun, one of my friends said this past week, and one of the houses they were looking to buy or kicking the tires on suddenly is up now 50, 60,000 because of concerns about tariffs and inflation. You know, as this major macro issue goes through the economy, you know, what do you think this is going to mean to the spring and summer housing market buying activity?
It's a great question. You know, we keep a pretty close eye on housing. You know, I think when you think about things like tariffs and inflation, it's still a little early. I think there are a lot of folks that are speculating. But let me tell you what we see in housing. And I think the short answer is that we see some really positive green shoots. We see inventory up. We see more homes selling at or below list. We don't see as many of those competitive bidding dynamics that have existed in the past. We know that the mortgage origination market this year is going to be about $1.9 trillion, and that's up 10 to 15% from where it was last year. So what we see is actually positive. Of course, it's anyone's guess how things will play out with some of those other dynamics like tariffs. But we see a lot of good things happening in the purchase market for the spring.
And so, Varun, these two acquisitions that you've made and what you're creating at Rocket, do you see it as more offensive or defensive strategy in this environment?
I think it's a little bit of both. I think, as I mentioned, the great thing about servicing is it creates a more cyclical, counter-cyclical business dynamic where you can weather storms and grow in any market. So that's great. For us, this is definitely about creating a vision of where we want to see the experience go. We think together we can create an integrated, frictionless experience that drives value for consumers, that drives values for realtors, for mortgage brokers, real estate brokers. And I think fundamentally that's where we're focused. So I would say primarily we're doing this because we see an opportunity to build a better experience, remove friction, create value, pass the savings on to the client. So that's probably more offensive in nature than anything else.
And Varun, I guess the next question is, are you done? Because I was emailing with one analyst this morning who said on the servicing side, even this deal, even though it'll be a big company, an entity put together, it's still only about 20% of the overall market. So do you plan to make more acquisitions?
Yeah, I would say, first off, integration is our number one priority here with these acquisitions. Top priority for me, top priority for our board. We're going to be maniacally focused on making sure that this is smooth. I'd also say that we have some experience in this. Mr. Cooper has done a lot of deals very successfully. I mean, we've done deals successfully. So there's a playbook and expertise that we're bringing to make sure that this is successful. In terms of additional inorganic activity, I would just say we're going to be opportunistic. I think our number one focus is to make sure that these deals are successfully integrated, but our capital allocation principles stay exactly the same. And one of them is that we're going to be opportunistic when we think about M&A. One of the examples of an area that's interesting to us are what we call small tech tuck-ins. As you think about the AI space, there's a lot of advancements in things like computer vision, data and document extraction, optical character recognition, telephony and things like that. And so we're going to continue to be opportunistic if it's in service to our strategy. But of course, our primary focus now is making sure that these great companies, join Rocket and integrate seamlessly.
Varun, I remember you telling me when we first met, you're not actively glued to the stock price, even though we wish you would be watching it on the Yahoo Finance app. But why did it get hit on the Redfin deal, and why is it getting hit now? What has the feedback been from investors?
Yeah, I mean, look, I would say first off, I don't spend a lot of time looking at stock behavior on a day-to-day basis. I don't think it's indicative of kind of a clear strategy from a long-term perspective. We feel great about the story with our investors and our shareholders. We are building a generational company. We're very aligned in our long-term vision, and we think we're going to get there. And so that, to me, is the true test of value creation, is what happens over the long term. We feel great about our strategy with our investors and our shareholders. We have a lot of conviction that we're on the right path, and that's kind of our perspective.
Varun, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it. Brian, thanks for chipping in.
Happy to be here.